Hello everyone, today we're going to be going through chapters 27 through 35, and at the end of last time, when we ended, we just kind of brushed over some things, so we didn't really get into chapters 25 and 26 much, except to point out that we were going to be getting into the tabernacle. So really today we're going to be kind of referencing back through 25, but it is 27 through 35, again in the Chronological Study Bible. So, and if you need that Bible, just email me at becauseloveneverfails@gmail.com. Give me your address and I'll send that to you. So let's see here. What we're going to see today is I'm going to kind of briefly go over the tabernacle, because what there is right now in these chapters is God is interacting with Moses, and Moses is getting the instructions of the tabernacle, and then he's going to come off the mountain and then actually give those instructions to the people of Israel for the actual construction of it. So we'll look at some things more in detail with the tabernacle as we go along. But what I do want to point out here is, this is, I don't know what it's like for you guys as you read this, and I really do encourage you to read it. Read every word, read every detail. And the reason I say that is because there's this tendency as we go through this stuff to just kind of, go, okay, cool, that's what's going on, and then just breeze right over it. And I almost wish that I could take all of us, that I could just take us and we could actually physically be inside of this tabernacle and almost walk through everything that a priest would walk through in going through this tabernacle. Because what it really speaks to is it speaks to this reverence, and it not only does it speak to reverence, but it also even just the fact that we don't even have to go through that today, and we don't have to go through that because of the work of Christ. Because ultimately, what this tabernacle is it really is the ultimate picture of Christ and what Christ's work is for us today in this age of grace. And with that said, there's some references to that. In John chapter 1, verse 14, it says, the Word who became flesh and dwelt among us. Well, that word dwelt really is tabernacled. So he tabernacled among us. So today, as the church, we are that tabernacle, but it's an indwelling. It's inside of us, right? It's not this physical tabernacle that we're looking at right now. And that's a really precious gift. And again, since in the New Testament, when Jesus is speaking to this time period, and also when Paul and James and everyone is speaking to these people, their scriptures were the Old Testament. So they had in their mind, they had this solid framework of the Old Testament, what had happened in the Old Testament, and very much so this tabernacle. And they had lived that. They had lived these sacrifices, right? And so that's the mindset. So this is very foundational stuff for us to get it in our head. So let's not just breeze over it. Let's really meditate on it in our own studies and think about get this picture, get this feeling in our mind, and almost just walk ourselves through it personally as if we were there walking through. Okay, chapter 25. The offerings for the sanctuary. So again, the Lord speaking to Moses here, and he's telling Moses, hey, go speak to the children of Israel. Go speak to them, and that each man may bring an offering. From everyone who gives it willingly with his heart, you shall take my offering. So even among the people right now that's seen all of God's wonders, crossing the Red Sea, escaping Egypt, manna and quail, rods being hit upon the rock, water coming out, it astounds me that after seeing all this, that there would be some people who wouldn't give, right? Who wouldn't give the offerings for the building of this tabernacle. And this is the offering which you shall take from them. I want to read this because there's a lot here. Gold, silver, bronze, blue, purple, and scarlet thread, fine linen, goat's hair, ram skins, dyed red, badger skins, acacia wood, oil for the light, and spices for the anointing oil and for the sweet incense, onyx stones and stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate. And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. And when we're thinking about all these stones and fine linens and incense, where do they get it from? Remember when they exited Egypt, right there towards the end, right before the Passover and the death of the firstborn, they were gathering all of these articles from Egypt, right? And in one sense, now how much of a willing heart would I have to give up all of these things as an offering? What sense would you have? Like what would be your willingness to give that? Because in essence, all these things that you have that you're giving as an offering, you got those, and you got them after 400 years of slavery, right? You got these after this years in service, these years of servitude to Egypt, and now you're out of there, and it feels like yours, right? Mine, 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 mine. I'm sure we still have that today, right? Okay, so it goes through the Ark of the Testimony, the table for the showbread, the gold lampstand, the tabernacle in general, how it was to be created, the court of the tabernacle, the altar of burnt offering in chapter 7, the care of the lampstand, the very garments for the priesthood, the ephod, right? This breastplate, that the priests were to wear in terms of these garments. It was almost like, imagine putting on this apron, right? And with this apron, there are these 12 stones, on the breastplate. This breastplate of righteousness, right? Or this breastplate of, let's see here what it says. I'm saying breastplate of righteousness, thinking about the New Testament. I'm not sure if it was said there, but this breastplate with the 12 tribes and these onyx stones, and in these onyx stones, again, the 6 and 6, again, the 12 tribes of Israel being represented, and also, it was breastplate of judgment, not righteousness. It says here, right in verse 29 of chapter 28, "So Aaron shall bear the names of the sons of Israel and the breastplate of judgment over his heart when he goes into the holy place, as a memorial before the God continually. And you shall put the breastplate of judgment, the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be over Aaron's heart when he goes in before the Lord." So what's being described here, if we look at kind of a map of the tabernacle, so one would enter in on the east side, and then would have this altar of burnt offering, then would be the bronze laver. Then you would enter into the holy place, and in the holy place would have the table of showbread, the golden lampstand, and then the altar of incense. And then there was this veil that was separating the holy place from the most holy place. And inside of the most holy place, we would find the Ark of the Covenant. And with the Ark of the Covenant, that would have in this ark would be the two stone tablets that would have the covenant and the commandments from God. And this is going to all show up. We're going to be referencing back to this, and even the physical location here of what we see going from east to west. What I find interesting here is that in the garden, when Adam and Eve were kicked out of the garden, where did God place the cherubim? He placed them on the east, right? So then that points to them being placed out, this way, and the cherubim will be guarded here. So now, almost like entering back into the garden, entering back into the temple, into this most holy place, you're going from east to west. Just a neat little parallel that jumped out at me. Okay, let's see. The tabernacle, basically the tabernacle speaks of Christ, right? Again, we mentioned this in terms of the Word becomes flesh and tabernacles within us. And then the tabernacle also really shows this picture of the spiritual realities of heaven. And just to give, some parallels here, and this comes from Hebrews in the New Testament. So there's this earthly sanctuary, and then there's also the heavenly sanctuary. There's the holiest of all. There's the holiest, God's presence. There's the veil. There's the veil, Christ's body. The blood of animals, the blood of Christ. The altar, Christ as our altar. The high priest, Christ as our great high priest. The sacrifices, Christ as our sacrifice. The ark of the ark of the covenant. The throne of grace, right? So this one really jumped out at me because it's like, you have the ark of the covenant and all of the rituals and all of the commands that are given in order to even approach God, right? I mean, there's this real separation, and to be holy because God is holy, and then the throne of grace, right? And now we can walk boldly to the throne of grace. We can walk right in, right? Christ, the altar of incense, and then in Revelation, the altar of incense in heaven. Some neat parallels there. Some other things that we're going to see, just with the linens, the even entering into the gate of the tabernacle. And I want to show you one other image here of the tabernacle. So this would be what it would look like from the outside. The picture that I just showed you earlier would be what it would look like when you walked in and what you would be seeing in terms of the holy place. So the holy place and the most holy place would be inside of here. So this gate, as you go into the gate, you can see you can see what it's made of. You've got the white linens, and you've got the various colors here. And what's interesting about those colors is all are represented. The white so in the Gospels that we'll see in the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Luke was white. This color was given, right? So the perfect man. And then in Matthew, purple, the king. And then in Mark, the scarlet, the lowly servant suffering for sins. And then the blue, in the book of John, we see the heavenly one. So again, to enter into this court that we were looking at, to enter into this court, a person had to go through this door or gate, and there was only one way of entrance. There was only one way in, just as in the New Testament, Christ saying, "I am the way, I am the only way." And so, just as Christ is the only way to God, and the gate being 30 feet wide, as a picture of the sufficiency of Christ for all mankind. So again, lot of imagery here, but it's very physical and so it is us gaining this framework to see Christ in the New Testament. Okay, so going through these daily offerings, even what the priests were to do in the tabernacle, talking about the artisans who were going to build it. And so in chapter 32, here comes Moses down the mountain, and as he comes down, and God even gives him a foreshadowing of this, says, look, the people, he's telling Moses in verse 7 of chapter 32, go get down, for your people whom you brought out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made themselves a molded calf and worshipped it and sacrificed to it and said, this is your God, O Israel, that brought you out of the land of Egypt. Already, again, after going through everything that they've gone through, here they are. They've already forgotten, and they're giving homage and they're giving the praise to this golden calf that they've created. And Aaron's brought to task for this with Moses. Man, what's going on? And Aaron gives this recount of what happened. How he's just basically the people were grumbling and he gave in to this. And we also see this intercession. Of God. I mean, Moses is basically, the essence of his intercession on the people is hey, here's the people. Are you going to kill the people? Or are you going to take out your wrath on the people? What will the people say? What will the Egyptians say? That this God of Israel just is taking them out just to kill them? And what's really cool here is that God hears Moses and he hears this intercession. But there's still a judgment that takes place, because as Moses gets in and he's seeing this golden calf, he looks at the people and he says right here, whoever, and this is in verse 26, then Moses stood in the entrance of the camp and he says, whoever is on the Lord's side, come to me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves, and so all of them came. And so he drew this line. And those that didn't come, then there were instructions that were given. So every man with a sword on his sides goes through and kills those that were not with them, and lets them know that they've committed a great sin. And as far as numbers, there's a number given here in chapter 32. Consecrate yourselves. You've committed great sin. Atonement. Well, I lost it. I can't find it. Okay, so it's there though. I think it was like 3,000 or so. So we see this, and then in 33, there's this command to leave Mount Sinai, and Moses makes in chapter 34 makes new tablets of stone because he had broken those. So there's he spends another 40 days and 40 nights on the mountain with God. Comes down. He even gets to see God. He gets to see at least the back of him. Okay, guys, we'll reference this again tomorrow as we go along, but this is just hopefully to further you in your studies. God bless you, and may